Texture baking is a great way to enhance detail without increasing your vertex count. You can take the details, which include normals, opacity, colors, and more, and bake them on from a higher res object onto a lower one. Let's take an example. We make a high poly textured object. Then select the high poly object, followed by the low poly object. The low poly object is what we'll bake onto, and this is always selected last. Go under the Bake Texture, not the Reproject. In the settings, check whatever is relevant. For example, if you want to bake the colors and the normals, make sure they are checked. Click Bake from High Res, and here's the result after baking. The plane has no additional vertices, yet it looks like there are detailed cube textures. Now, earlier in the settings, there was a cage radius parameter. The cage radius you can think of as how far out to detect the texture bake. So if the two objects are close in size, or if you want to keep the texture bake localized to a small area, a small cage radius like 30 would work. But if the objects that you're baking the texture from is very different in size, you may want to make the cage radius larger. Also note, this texture bake only considers smooth shading, so even if you have smooth shading turned off, it will bake as if smooth shading was turned on. And that is why I subdivided the shape to add more topology before making the texture bake. Also, after baking, you can hide the texture to look at the mesh on its own. So what are some ways to use texture bake? You can bake just the normals alone and make frosted glass, brick-like textures. You can apply it repeatedly for a tiling effect, create a texture to use as opacity, and more. If you're unsatisfied with the texture, you can always go under the Materials tab to delete it, and you might need to regenerate UVs. Another cool thing is it can be applied before you validate a shape, so that means you can distort the shape and reapply another texture bake.